There's now a lot of pressure on the former royal known as Prince Harry, particularly in these forthcoming months. But what is the pressure about, and how do they plan to, shall we say, alleviate it right now? Hi, good morning, Neil Sean here in the very heart of London. Nice to see you. Yes, a big wave to one and all. Can't believe it, 156,000 subscribers. Thank you so much, truly. Don't know where you're all coming from, but it's nice to have your company, and truly, thank you. I really mean that. We put a lot of work into this channel for you because we want you to be entertained, but more importantly, we want to present the truth and impartiality to you because, you know, as I've often said here on the show, there's a lot of things that you see on the mainstream media that basically they tell you one side of the story, and when it's proven not to be correct, they don't bother putting the other side up because, well, that's not interesting, is it? It's not a headline grabbing thing. Here on this channel, we present both sides of the story. We let you decide what you think is the correct version of events, and of course, if we find ultimately that this is the version, we tell you that too. It's as simple as that. Back as ever though to your breaking royal story of the day. This particular story really centres on the fact that, as we now know, Prince Harry's gearing up to release that tell-all book, a memoir about the man that he's become for all of that money. And as we've told you now, according to sources, all the legalities have been signed off. I find that very alarming actually, because just 12 days ago we were told it was going to be delayed, and then of course when we found out that the opposite book, Revenge by Tom Bower, has now become a #1 bestseller over here in the United Kingdom. Strange really, isn't it, how they decide to kickstart that into action. Could be before Christmas. They're hoping to be a little bit earlier, possibly late October. We'll let you know when we know more details, but it's interesting how they're going to market this book, you know, because really everybody's talking about the negative stories rather than the positive stories, and I'm sure there's going to be a few positive stories and a few looks behind the screens, as it were, of Harry and Meghan's life, and in particular Prince Harry's life prior to hooking up with Meghan Markle. I think that would be interesting. But they've got a big problem on their hands, because how do you sell a book that people seemingly are not that interested in? The book is being published, as we know, by Penguin Random House, and they also have a mega author with them in the form of the First Lady, Michelle Obama, whose first book, Becoming Michelle, became a runaway hit. I saw her fill a packed stadium here in London, and incredible when you think, you know, she did have a presence about her. Very good at storytelling, very self-depreciating, I might point out as well. I think that's one of the qualities that really engaged her to our wonderful monarch, Queen Elizabeth II, who we know formed a very close and good relationship with them. But now Penguin Random House think that this could be a good idea, and according to a very good source, Prince Harry likes the idea. Get this. It could be the fact that Prince Harry, yes, and as ever we have to say allegedly, could sit down for a filmed or indeed live one-to-one chat with a former First Lady. The publisher thinks this is a good idea because they were friends, they did get on, and if you remember, of course, Harry cemented a very good relationship with Michelle and Barack, even getting a monarch to agree to appear in a bit of a spoof video. Remember that one where he said boom at the end? Very funny, very clever, and of course they were happier times. Now Harry, of course, really does need some stardust sprinkling on his book, so how about the former First Lady then reversing the role and asking him these questions? There's a problem, and Penguin Random House hope to get round it, because as we know, Michelle and Barack are very much in the camp of our wonderful monarch, and apparently great damage was done after Harry and Meghan appeared on that Oprah Winfrey interview. Of course, if they did persuade Michelle to sit down with Harry, as she is on the same roster, then that would be a bit of a coup. But if the book did detail some sort of hairy stories that don't sit very well with our British monarchy, then that also could be problematic. Right now, things are at the very early stages, according to a very good source at Penguin Random House, but they are hopeful that things could be resolved. What they really mean by that is they're pretty desperate and they really need to try and sell this book. And by having one best-selling author on their books, then perhaps they could have two. But isn't it strange that this all now hinges on the word and final say of the former First Lady, Michelle Obama? What would you do? Neil Sean in the very heart of London.